William has finally snapped. Enough is enough. He has told friends he will strip Meghan Markle of the HRH title.
Zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That is a title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US to bug all of us.
It seems like that lady is a temptress. She's a siren. She's lured him into the rocks.
According to a source, here's the quote: Prince William plans to flex his muscles and wipe his wayward brother Prince Harry and his power-hungry wife Meghan from the history books, it says.
Enough for Bill Simmons over at the Ringer podcast, which was acquired by Spotify, to call Harry and Meghan, quote, a fucking grifter on his latest podcast. Here's what he had to say.
I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The grifters.
Prince William is reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles.
The only thing HRH stands for in association with Meghan Markle is her ruthless homewreckerness, I guess.
This woman looks to me like a malignant narcissist. This woman has zero self-awareness.
Beast has reported that King Charles is turning a blind eye, but King William won't.
There are government employees that are still waiting for paychecks, back paychecks months ago.
Yeah.
You know, what are the odds that they're going to get paid quickly for this Harry and Meghan visit?
Wanting to exploit their royal titles, I think it stinks. And I think what King Charles should do, he should just strip them of the titles. Let them go off and be, celebrities. That's fine. But don't do it in the name of our royal family.
Oh my God, that hat. Oh God, he's so hot. Look at him. Isn't Prince Harry? She bagged a fox.
But this has been Meghan Markle's MO from the beginning. She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public service.
Nobody talks like that and nobody acts like that, because that's weird behavior that we're seeing from both of these people if we're supposed to be thinking under the impression that they're being authentic.
Markle and Prince Harry may no longer be working royals, but their recent trip to Nigeria looked very much like a royal tour of their own.
Prince William will strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles when he becomes king.
There are growing calls to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. The New York Post is reporting that locals in the UK say enough is enough, especially after Prince Harry's disastrous BBC.
It didn't explode with banners or breaking news chyrons. It started as a low murmur in a draughty Westminster corridor, a half-forgotten clerk whispering that a certain duchess had pushed once too far. By mid-morning, the murmur had become a throb. A peer of the realm strode into the Lord's library, slapped a leather folder on the oak table, and said, "We're filing." That single word ignited the powder trail, because inside the folder was a formal motion, not a tabloidy Dayglow campaign, but a sober ink-on-vellum petition to rip the title Duchess of Sussex out of Meghan Markle's grasp forever. Across the Thames, Whitehall aides blinked at their screens. This was no juicy opinion poll, no in-house royal columnist stirring twirl. This was Parliament itself sharpening the guillotine, and all because of a gift basket. Zoom in, a cream-ribboned hamper, stuffed with artisanal honey and lotus root chips, sent by Meghan to a podcast host, at first glance, harmless, until someone spotted the card, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. She had signed it HRH, a style she'd promised the late Queen she wouldn't deploy again outside the palace walls. One snap of that label ricocheted through WhatsApp groups of civil servants, faster than any palace press release. Overnight, royal watchers dredged up every clip of Meghan purring Sussex now, at Beyoncé's concert. Every moment she brand flashed the title on stage in Nigeria. Every contract stamped Sussex Royal on Netflix paperwork. One breach could be excused as ego. A pattern looked like weaponized branding. That was the fuel. The spark came from Nigeria. The Sussexes arrived in a bajua looking every inch a sovereign couple, color-coordinated outfits, ceremonial greetings, military chiefs lining up for selfies. They laid wreaths, gave speeches, toured hospitals, all under a Union Jack aura that Buckingham had never authorized. Diplomats back in London sipped burnt coffee and panicked. Rogue royalty meddling abroad can trigger constitutional migraines. By the time the Sussex jet lifted off the tarmac, the Foreign Office had logged it as an unauthorized quasi-state visit. In palace code, that translates to, "You just poked the lion." Enter Lord Simon Lee, a crossbench peer who usually spends his afternoons debating farm subsidies. He gathered signatures across party lines, Labor, Conservative, even a lone Green, and framed his argument in brutal legalese. Meghan, he charged, had trivialized and monetized a peerage created in good faith. She'd merged it with a corporate machine, Spotify deals, Netflix docuseries, trademark applications for pens, pillows, and Prosecco under the Sussex name. Worse, her public allegations of racism inside the palace, delivered while still styling herself HRH, had embarrassed a monarch who cannot publicly answer back. The Lords see that as a mugging in which the victim is gagged. When the petition hit the red benches, the chamber fell eerily quiet. Even hereditary peers, who couldn't differentiate TikTok from a tea cozy, grasped the stakes. Stripping a duchess is nuclear. Last time Parliament yanked a title, it was 1917, when German princes were frozen out during World War I. That precedent now hangs over Meghan like a sword. Meanwhile, the streets told their own story. A fresh YouGov poll landed with the subtlety of Big Ben's hammer. 77% of Britons want the Sussex Duchess title gone. Newspapers splashed lurid mock-ups of a crown shattering like glass. Radio hosts fielded furious callers, who recited Meghan's Oprah claims line for line, then scoffed at her Nigerian photo ops. One pensioner summed up the mood. She wants the diamonds, not the duty. Off with the law. Inside Kensington Palace, aides insist Prince William isn't gloating. He's grim. Friends say he sees the petition as the only surgical option left. King Charles, ever the conciliator, prefers to let calm prevail. Translation: kick the can. But the heir knows delay only breeds spectacle. If Westminster votes, the crown must sign. And William understands the optics better a decisive heir than a dithering father. Courtiers whisper that, if forced, Charles may let his son take the public blame for pulling the trigger. Across the Atlantic, the Sussex PR squad fires back with velvet gloves. They stress Meghan uses HRH only in private correspondence, though private seems to include televised podcasts with choreographed tearless tears. Body language analysts replay her blinking fits, highlight the micro shrugs that scream fabrication, and the internet splices them beside the old clip of Meghan bragging she can cry on command in 3 seconds flat. Not a great week to be her authenticity coach. Yet the Duchess in limbo doesn't slow. She mails empowerment baskets, signs them HRH, and smiles for influencer-grade selfies. Maybe she thinks Parliament won't dare. Maybe she's right. But the motion is filed, the debate scheduled, and the whisper has become a thunderclap rolling toward Buckingham's gate. The day of the debate arrives under a sky, the color of wet slate. Carriages no longer bring peers to the Lords, but photographers clustered outside the Norman arches might as well be waiting for guillotines to roll. Inside, crimson leather gleams beneath chandeliers older than the United States, and every seat is filled. Lords who usually nap through fisheries briefings now clutch annotated printouts titled Duchess of Sussex Motion. One silver-haired baroness murmurs to her neighbor, "When was the last time we tried to erase a title while its holder was still alive?" No answer, because in living memory, it hasn't happened. Lord Lee rises first. His voice quavers, but his words slice. He recounts Meghan's Nigeria tour, the military guard of honor, the speeches delivered in the capacity of a duchess, the glossy behind-the-scenes camera crew, capturing monarchical grandeur for an inevitable Netflix sequel. He quotes the 1917 titles, Deprivation Act, then pulls a modern dagger, Clause 3B, of the Diplomatic Privilege Code, which forbids private citizens from staging state-style visits. What we witnessed was not philanthropy, he thunders. It was unlicensed diplomacy for sale to the highest bidder in Hollywood. A ripple of approval skirts the benches. A Labour peer stands next, not normally a monarchist ally. She frames the question as one of equality. The rest of us cannot print business cards, claiming honors we do not perform. Why should the Duchess be exempt? She invokes nurses, striking for back pay, junior doctors taxed to the hilt, and contrasts their hardships with a California mansion funded by commercializing a title that belongs by law to the British Crown. Even the Republican benches nod. This isn't about adoring royals, they insist, but stopping any aristocratic brand becoming a golden credit card. As speeches mount, two themes dominate: diplomatic risk and commercial gain. A former ambassador recounts his horror at fielding calls from Abuja officials who assumed Meghan spoke for King Charles. A conservative whip holds aloft a glossy Archewell brochure boasting of Sussex global impact and asks, "Is this marketing copy or is it foreign policy?" In a chamber where centuries of protocol matter more than trending hashtags, brand opportunism is the unforgivable sin. Yet opposition voices surface, A liberal peer warns that revoking titles by vote smacks of medieval attainder and could turn Meghan into a free speech martyr. Another laments the precedent. Today Sussex, tomorrow which peerage displeases Twitter. But the numbers aren't with them. Whispers from the counting office predict a 3-1 majority for censure. While Parliament wrangles, Kensington strategizes. Insiders leak that William has authorized a contingency plan, nicknamed Operation Lion's Tooth. If the Lords pass the motion, the heir will publicly endorse it within 24 hours, allowing King Charles to grant royal assent without appearing vindictive. Palace courtiers rehearse statements emphasizing respect for parliamentary sovereignty and the dignity of the crown. Translation: this wasn't personal, it was constitutional. Blame Westminster. Across 9 time zones, Montecito awakens to a sea. Meghan's comms team scrambles a statement insisting she remains committed to service and calling the motion an unfortunate distraction. Hours later, TMZ drops footage of Harry driving a black SUV, jaw clenched, paparazzi bulbs, strobing. Friends whisper he is livid at Westminster's colonial hang-up, yet equally furious that Meghan signed HRH on that basket. Even Spotify's Bill Simmons resurfaces on his podcast, laughing. Grifters got caught grifting the wrong crowd. Parliament doesn't hand out blue checkmarks, they yank coronets. Stock in Netflix dips 2 points on speculation. The Sussex brand risks devaluation. Lawyers comb contracts. If Meghan loses the Duchess title, can producers still market the royal love story? A leaked email shows one executive suggesting rebranding footage as Exiles of Windsor. The joke in Soho House bars, Meghan may end up with a docu-series titled simply M. Meanwhile, body language expert Scott Rouse appears on morning TV, dissecting Meghan's latest damage control video. He freeze-frames her apology smile, noting the shoulders lift half a second before the lips' classic sign of insincerity. The clip goes viral under the hashtag Duchess of Drama. Within a day, TikTok teens are parody crying on camera, dabbing imaginary tears, while mouthing "You know I'm Sussex now." Every swipe pushes parliamentary resolve deeper. Even moderate columnists concede the momentum is unstoppable. They point to the poll 77% demanding title removal, including a majority of under-30s, who once saw Meghan as a refresh for the monarch. The spell's broken, writes one Guardian commentator. Brand Sussex promised authenticity, but delivered Hollywood theatrics. Britain loves a show, just not when it sells our crown like merch. Back in the Lords, debate closes, division bells ring, robed figures shuffle through carved lobbies to cast their votes. No television cameras allowed, only the scratch of quills records history. At 7:42 p.m., the clerk reads the tally. Ayes, 27 aye, noes 89, motion carried. Outside, Big Ben tolls across a rain-slicked Westminster. Within minutes, news alerts glow on phones worldwide. Parliament votes to strip Meghan of Duchess title. Hashtags ignite, pundits spin, and somewhere in Montecito, an iPhone pings with the headline, Meghan feared most. The Duchess still has her name, her mansion, her deal. But the House of Lords has just signed the eviction notice for her last shard of royal majesty. The clock hasn't struck midnight when Kensington Palace's press office releases a statement only 11 sentences long. But Britain feels the earth tilt. William notes the decision of Parliament and shares the view that royal titles carry duties, not dividends. No overt celebration, just a confirmation that the heir to the throne will not lift a finger to save his brother's wife. 34 words aimed like a laser at Montecito. The cavalry isn't coming. Journalists sprint to Clarence House, hoping for a royal rebuttal, but King Charles is in Norfolk. Unavailable for comment, courtiers leak that he will grant royal assent within weeks, possibly days, letting Parliament's motion become law without a single royal signature on the chopping blade. Insiders say Charles is weary, he's buried a mother, coronated himself and fended off Harry's memoir. If Westminster wants to carry this burden, why stop them? In private he allegedly mutters, they wrote the script, let them direct it. Across the Atlantic, Meghan's attorneys draft injunctions nobody believes will hold. U.S. networks crave on-camera fireworks, but at Archewell HQ the lights burn past midnight, in silence. Harry Pace's staff report he's haunted, replaying memories of Diana warning him about tabloids, yet now it's legislation, not ink, that threatens. He calls old army comrades, they talk rugby scores instead. Unsure what to say, a friend texts a blunt question, mate, can't you just stop the HRH stuff? No reply. In Silicon Valley, Netflix holds an emergency brand risk meeting. Marketing teams argue whether future thumbnails should blur the word Duchess. Someone suggests pushing the release of their Polo documentary to change the narrative. Another scoffs, "You can't outride Parliament." Stockholders fear the Sussex allure is drying faster than California reservoirs. The word deplatform floats across Zoom screens, usually reserved for view counts and binge metrics. British tabloids, scenting blood, publish side-by-side images. Meghan's Nigeria tour in bespoke ivory silk, next to Princess Anne inspecting flood defenses in muddy boots. The headline, "Duty vs. Demeanor." Even serious outlets question whether the Sussexes unintentionally reignited monarchist sentiment. A Times columnist writes, "In seeking to escape the institution, they have strengthened it. Paradox worthy of Shakespeare." Social media fractures along Atlantic line. American fans post "Keep the Duchess," citing racism and misogyny. Brits counter with title forfeited and clips of Meghan bragging. "She can cry on cue." Nigerian commentators feel betrayed. "Were we props in a Netflix trailer?" asks one editorial. A Lagos radio host jokes that the visit had all the ceremony of a royal tour and the accountability of an Instagram ad. At Westminster, the machinery keeps grinding. A cross-party committee drafts the title's censure bill, specifying that any marketing, charity or diplomatic engagement using royal styling without royal approval incurs a £250,000 fine per instance. Lobbyists for streaming giants howl, backbenchers shrug. One quips, "They monetized the crown. Now the crown sends the invoice." William's inner circle dubbed the compact map's next moves. If the bill passes the Commons, Sussex will be legally forbidden to use HRH, Duke, Duchess, or Sussex for commercial promotion. Friends note, William's grim resolve, "This isn't about revenge, it's a firewall to protect George, Charlotte, and Louis from future brand warfare." The plan has a final step: reassign the Sussex coat of arms to charity archives, erasing it from official stationery forever. Montecito PR strategists brainstorm redemption arcs. Maybe Meghan runs for public office. Maybe they pivot to ecotech, but investors whisper the obvious. Prestige brands sign deals for fairy tale sheen, not ex-royal controversy. A cosmetic partner quietly postpones a campaign slated to feature Meghan in emerald regalia. The creative deck is deleted before dawn. Then the unexpected twist. A public letter from Beyoncé's Parkwood Entertainment, clarifying that the "You know I'm Sussex now" quip was a private jest, not endorsement of any title. The hive buzzes. The message is clear. Without cultural heavyweights, the Sussex media firewall starts to crumble. Days later, royal assent comes through, stamped on creamy parchment. By tea-time broadcasters announce it. Meghan Markle is legally stripped of the Duchess of Sussex style. British law now recognizes her as Rachel Meghan Markle. No HRH, no Duchess. Nothing. Harry retains courtesy Duke for now, but loses HRH in all formal government documents until further review. Camera trucks swarm Montecito's gate. Security ushers them away, but drones capture Harry walking the lawn alone, phone to ear, head down. Meghan remains unseen. Rumors swirl she's in Los Angeles, meeting attorneys about a defamation tour de force, yet insiders claim she's pacing her dressing room, staring at a Cartier tiara she once wore for a Vogue shoot, and whispering, "It wasn't supposed to end like this." Even her staunchest defenders feel the chill. Vanity Fair's latest digital cover drops Meghan for a profile of Princess Anne, the reluctant rock star. Comment sections once filled with Sussex praise now debate constitutional law. A journalist tweets, "The monarchy's death spiral has been postponed by Meghan's brand strategy." In an oak-paneled study, William receives the final briefing. The Sussex chapter, he's told, is functionally closed. He sighs, not in triumph but relief. Outside, the Union flag flutters under a hesitant sun. Tradition has survived another storm, not by palace decree but parliamentary gavel. For Meghan, the Duchess dream ends in ink and statute. For the crown, the ancient dance of duty over glamour wins again. Somewhere perhaps Queen Elizabeth's portrait smiles, discreetly, unblinkingly, at the simple fact that titles, once surrendered to spectacle, have finally been reclaimed by silence.